Metroidvania is a subgenre within the world of action-adventure video games, as the term Metroidvania is a portmanteau of the Metroid and Castlevania series, so they have similar game design and mechanics found within them. In today's video, I want to talk about the top 10 Metroidvania games, as they are really enjoyable games to play. So without further ado, hello guys, my name is Hepodix and I hope you enjoy the video. Let's start the list with Guacamelee and its sequel, Guacamelee 2, a pair of Metroidvania games developed by Drinkbox Studios. They are hybrid 2D Metroidvania-style action platform brawlers, as they take inspiration from professional Mexican wrestling, as the player controls Juan to explore a non-linear world to complete main story tasks, as well as collect necessary character boosts and battle enemies. Upon progressing further, you break Chozo statues open, which is a direct reference to Metroid's Chozo statues, in order to gain new abilities. Both Guacamelee games even feature multiplayer options such as co-op, which are a nice addition, and these games are available on many gaming platforms, so therefore it takes the 10th spot in this list. At number 9 spot we have Cave Story, that's developed by Studio Pixel. In this fast-paced Metroidvania game, you get further by navigating platform puzzles and destroying enemies, and the player gets new weapons and upgrades such as more health and missile capacity along the way. Cave Story takes place in a floating island with cavernous interior that is populated by Mimiga, a race of intelligent rabbit-like creatures. Even despite the primitive graphics and controls, it is still a fun experience, and that has allowed this game to be released on older systems like Amiga and Sega Genesis, despite coming out on 2004, which is pretty awesome, and therefore Cave Story takes the 9th spot in this list. Next at number 8 spot, let's talk about The Messenger, developed by Sabotage Studio. This game takes a huge inspiration from the classic Ninja Gaiden series, as you're on a quest to deliver a scroll. In the beginning, the game presents itself with 8-bit graphics and audio and seems quite linear, but upon proceeding further, the player enters from past to future where all the visuals and audio turns to 16-bit, and it becomes a Metroidvania game pretty soon after. Depending on the area you visit, it varies between the 8 and 16-bit presentations. It's a very interesting yet unique approach to welcome newcomers. You also have a lot of ninja-like abilities right away, such as cloud stepping, and later on we'll get more upgrades, as well as abilities, which adds to the variety, as the gameplay and presentation is overall very enjoyable. And with everything stated above, The Messenger takes the 8th spot in this list. Moving to the 7th spot, we have Dead Cells, that is a roguelike Metroidvania game co-developed by Motion Twin and Evil Empire. You take control of a mass of cells that occupy and control the body of a deceased prisoner at the start of each game. As you begin exploring a series of dungeons, you fight enemies to collect things like weapons, abilities, power-ups, money, and most importantly, cells that can grant permanent boosts to your character. The design of each level is very complex, especially given the fact that they are procedurally generated, and the roguelike factor kicks in when dying, because if you do die, you have to start over and will lose any unspent cells. It's a somewhat unique yet interesting twist to the Metroidvania genre, and because of that, it takes the 7th spot in this list. Next at number 6 spot, we have Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, which is considered as a spiritual successor to the Castlevania series and is developed by Artplay. You play as Miriam, who explores a series of labyrinths presented as a platform game, and you need to obtain keys or powers in order to explore previous areas that you couldn't get to earlier. Miriam uses melee or ranged attacks to fight enemies, as well as magic that helps you on your journey. You also get new upgrades such as new weapons, armor and accessories by fighting bad guys and looting chests. It's quite a maze to dive deep in, and for all the Castlevania fans out there, a highly recommended game to play, and therefore it earns the 6th spot in this list. At number 5 spot we have Axiom Verge, a side-scroller Metroidvania game developed by a single person, Thomas Happ, which is quite an achievement on its own. The game is heavily inspired by the Metroid series as you take control of Trace, a scientist who wakes up in an ancient high-tech world after suffering a crippling injury. It's a very action-oriented game as upon playing you get new weaponry as well as access to several areas along the way, and even though the total length is quite mediocre, it still features a nice storyline, great gameplay execution and awesome soundtrack, and for these reasons it more than deserves the 5th spot in this list.
So, fidgets then?
That's me. And you're Dust?
Dust, an Elysian Tale is a beautiful action role-playing Metroidvania game taking the 4th spot that is developed by Humble Hearts. In the world of Falana, you play as Dust, who tries to remember his past and is accompanied by Fidget, who helps Dust on his journey. The plot starts to unfold when proceeding in the game as it takes attributes from hack and slash games, which is very cool as the combat system overall is really satisfying from a player's perspective. Dust also acquires power-ups such as climbing specific areas, tornado-like flying and double jump, which all are great additions. I just personally hope that the story would last longer, but it's still very nice gameplay experience all in all, and therefore it takes the 4th spot in this list. At number 3 spot we have a pair of games known as Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps, developed by Moon Studios. In both games you take the control of Ori, who solves intricate puzzles as you can do moves like jumping, climbing, gliding and swimming between various platforms. The gameplay unfolds in the form of Metroidvania when acquiring new abilities and upgrades, which enables Ori to go previously inaccessible areas of the map. Both Ori games are heavily inspired by the Rayman and Metroid franchises and has also been praised a lot by fans and critics, and therefore these beautifully executed games earns the 3rd spot in my list. For number 2 spot we have the granddad of the Metroidvania games that quote-unquote started it all, known as Castlevania Symphony of the Night, developed by Konami. This 2D side-scrolling masterpiece takes place on Dracula's castle as the player takes control of Dracula's son Alucard, who starts to explore the castle. Alucard refuses to ally with Dracula, which causes him to seek revenge on his father by defeating him. Dracula's castle is quite huge as there are various areas to explore, gain new weapons, upgrades and much more, and it even features leveling system where your stats grow and therefore you get stronger in the process. I hate to spoil much for those who have not played this game, but the story, soundtrack, graphics and overall gameplay are excellent, and therefore I can highly recommend Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which is personally my favorite Castlevania game, and therefore it more than deserves the 2nd spot in my list. The voice acting is kinda cheesy though, but in a funny way. Just listen.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. How about you?
At number 1 spot we have the Team Cherry's highly praised title known as Hollow Knight that simply defines the word excellent in the Metroidvania genre. You take the control of a nameless insect-like knight who starts to explore Hollow Nest, and you really have to figure your way through as the game does not tell you where to go or what to do next. But that is the beauty of Metroidvania games in general, as they do not hold your hand for the next objective. The graphics, sound design and atmosphere are just beautiful, and you can get lost to this game's world pretty easily due to the fact how rich the environment is lore-wise and how the whole level design has been executed perfectly in my opinion. Upon progressing, you gain a lot of new upgrades, such as health power-ups, new abilities and a ton of other things, which adds to the variety and complexity of Hollow Knight. Also, there are a ton of enemies you battle against, as well as a ton of cool boss battles, which is just awesome, and this game has a lot of content put in, as well as secrets that are great additions put together. There is just so much information that it's hard to condense everything here, but Hollow Knight, in my opinion, is a masterpiece within the Metroidvania category of games, and therefore it earns the first spot in my list. And now that Hollow Knight's Silk Song is on the way, hopefully in 2021, the hype is real for this franchise. Alright, so that covers up the top 10 Metroidvania games list. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please like this video as it helps me to grow, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more great gaming related top 10 videos to come. You can also find me on other social platforms like Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. All the links are in the video description below. Also, let me know your favorite Metroidvania game in the comments below. And with that said, thanks for watching, my name is Hepodix and have a nice day.